Hello, this is John Beecham, Mass Action. Today, April 17th, President Donald J. Trump tweeted, "Liberate Michigan, liberate Virginia, liberate Minnesota." What did he mean by those tweets? He means to encourage and back right-wing fascistic protesters, many of them fascistic, who are right now organizing protests, very dangerous protests, to try to get the lockdowns lessened or eased in those states and beyond. Let's be clear about this. This is activity that should not be allowed. Donald Trump from the White House encouraging people to literally do the very things that are the most harmful to the rest of the population and the planet during a global pandemic. Nobody should be social gathering during this pandemic if it's all at all possible, if it all can be helped, let's say necessary activity in order to keep human life going. These people who are protesting at the state capitals against mostly Democratic governors are anti-human race and need to be shut down. They should not be allowed to engage in these activities. No way whatsoever. What type of human society would allow this to go on, whether it's in the name of free speech or not? And lastly, where the hell is Joe Biden? What is he doing? Is he denouncing the protesters? He made this huge thing about opening his campaign saying we can't have the type of people that protested in Virginia to support the Confederacy, and Donald Trump is a fascist and we can't have a fascist. We need to have Joe Biden. Well, you know what? There's real protests with real fascists in them attempting to harm the rest of us. Where are you, Joe Biden, and what are you doing? Now, Governor Whitmer, who's been the subject, Democratic governor, of Trump's ire, and now the right wing's ire, they were chanting outside of the state capitol in Lansing, Michigan the other day, lock her up. Well, she has gone on the news and she has denounced these protests, and she said this is the type of activity that's going to lead to actually an increase in the lockdown. Well, you know what? It's her state. She's a Democrat. She should not have allowed that protest to happen. We need the type of leadership in this country that will do things definitively, socially, organizing us all together to do what's in our best interest. People should have showed up with the authority to literally shut that demonstration down. Should shut that demonstration down. I'm for free speech, I'm for protesting, but when people do harmful things and organize around hate and racism and endanger the rest of our lives through some death cult fantasy they have, they should not be allowed to do it. So again, we need better leadership. Trump, Biden, it's not it. We need a people's leadership. We need socialist leadership. We need working class leadership. We need leadership from the oppressed communities. We need people to be in charge of their own lives and their own communities. It's it. It's done. If we can't see it now, and we can't see it, and you are seeing it, we're going to continue to see things like this, an escalation of these right-wing protests, unless something definitive happens. We're going to have to find ways, stay tuned to Mass Action, to fight back, and we will fight back. I encourage everybody, at the very least on social media and in your organizations, respond to these protests, denounce them forcibly in as big a way on social media as we possibly can. And there's no reason why we can't continue to protest. The protests that have been happening here at the Chicago jail, for example, the ones that have been conducted safely and in people's cars with signs on people's cars, those things need to still happen. The nurses coming out and denouncing the conditions at Cook County Hospital at a press conference with masks on, practicing social distancing, all that stuff. We still need to raise our voices, and we need to find more creative ways to raise our voices through online rallies, webinars like the ones Mass Action is holding and so many other organizations are holding. But we got to say this. We got to say it loudly. We cannot allow this right-wing protest movement to succeed. It must be shut down. We must demand that these protests get shut down. It's not a matter of free speech. It's a matter of life and death and doing what's right and doing what's just for the people of this country. Who gets most affected by the spread of this pandemic? The poorest among us. Workers, frontline workers. And it's an absolute act of utter disrespect for human life to be gathering in the hundreds or thousands outside state capitals without masks on, with one another, in the same spaces, possibly spreading this pandemic. Can't allow it to happen. All right. Join Mass Action, mass-action.org. Also on, SoundCloud. We have a podcast, new episode coming out. It's Mass Action on SoundCloud. We're also on Facebook, Mass Action on Facebook. We have a petition circulating. You can go to mass-action.org and sign it. It's sign the pledge. I won't vote for Biden because we very, very much need the population as much as possible to reject both of the clowns that this system is giving us. Until next time, stay strong, keep your fist up, your heads up. Let's keep marching forward. We will win.